Yeah, morning all. Before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes. And thank you. So today I'll be starting with the Azure Data Factory, ADF. Fine. Azure Data Factory, simply saying that it is a cloud-based ETL. It is a cloud-based ETL, right? In Azure. Advantage. The main advantage is first thing. The main advantage is first one. No infrastructure. No infrastructure. Secondly, no license cost. Pay as you go. No infrastructure, no license cost, pay as you go. And also prices come as compared with AWS, Google, right? Price is less as compared with AWS, Google, and codeless ETL tool. Codeless ETL tool, right? Even even if you want to write customized code, even if you want to write customized code, right? Yes. You have got provision to write the customized code, right? The two without coding. The two without coding, right? By defining complex pipelines. Yes. ADF can connect. ADF can connect with any kind of data sources. ADF can connect with any kind of data sources. It can extract. It can extract data. It can extract data, right? It can extract data and write data into all types of storages. So in the previous session, right, in the demo session, just I was discussing, right, what are the different types of storages we have got. Okay. Not only these cloud storages, even like file or RDBMS, RDBMS, or RDBMS DB, or NoSQL DB, any kind of a database like RDBMS DB or NoSQL DB or file. These databases can be on-premise database, or cloud, within the same platform, cloud within the same platform, or other cloud platform, or other cloud platform databases. Okay. So it can extract data, it can connect with any kind of data sources. So it can extract data and write data into all types of storages, right? Like a file or DBMS, NoSQL. These databases can be on-premise database or cloud within the same platform or other cloud platform databases. So it's a cloudless ETL tool. Even if you want to write customized code, we can write it without writing any code, right? By defining complex pipelines. No license cost, price is less as compared with AWS, Google, and no infrastructure. You see this, for example, this is your source. From the source, for example, source is an RDBMS. RDBMS. From that source to ADF. Extract the data and pumps the data into the target. That is, it can be a warehouse. Example like Oracle database. From Oracle, ADF can extract data and dump the data into this data lake, Azure data lake. Into Azure data lake or Azure Synapse. ADF supports both. ADF supports both. First one, ETL, and secondly, ELT. It can support both ETL and ELT. ELT. ETL, extract, transform, and load. This is extract, load, transform. For less volumes, go for this. For less volumes, this is for big volumes, right? Yes. For big volumes of data, right? Second. Yes. ADF supports both ETL and ELT, right? Yes. So these are the main advantages, right? No infrastructure. It's a cloud-based ETL in Azure, right? No infrastructure, no license cost, pay as you go, codeless ETL tool, can connect with any kind of data sources, right? Can perform both ETL and ELT. ADF building blocks. ADF building blocks. To construct pipelines, we need to follow some steps. To construct pipelines, right? To construct pipelines, we need to follow some steps. Majorly 5 building blocks. Majorly 5 building blocks. Majorly 5 building blocks. First one, pipeline. Secondly, like activities. You need to know what are this pipeline, activities, data sets, linker services, right? Linker services, integration runtime, runtime, integration runtime, right? Yes. Pipeline, activities, data sets, linked services, integration runtime. So activities, right? Okay. Within pipeline, you will define activities. Within pipeline, you will define activities. But activities are working with data. But activities are working with data. So what do you mean by activities? Within pipeline, you will define activities, but activities are working with the data. Activities means like any kind of data operation. Activities are working with data. So to work with data, to work with data, we require data sets. We require data sets. Data sets. To create data sets. To create data sets, we require connection strings. We require connection strings. These connection strings are called as linked services. Linked services. These connection strings are called as linked services. To create a linked service, the prerequisite is integration runtime. Integration runtime. Understand this? Pipeline activities, data sets, linked services, integration runtime. Within pipeline, you will define activities, but activities are working with data. So to work with data, we require data sets. Data sets to create, we require connection strings. These connection strings are called linked services. Linked services, to create a linked service, the prerequisite is integration runtime. So one by one, we'll discuss in brief. First, pipeline. Pipeline, right? Yes. Mainly, as ADF developer, right? As ADF developer, your responsibility is creating pipelines. Run these pipelines. Run these pipelines on demand, or schedule based. Run these pipelines on demand or schedule based, right? As per business requirement, we need to create as per business requirement, we need to create a pipeline. So defining this pipeline, it is a set of sequence of activities. It is a set of sequence of pipeline is nothing but set of sequence of activities. Each activity is working with data operation. For example, suppose you want to perform some complex transformation. You want to perform some complex transformation. With single activity. It's not possible because here set of sequence of activities, right? It's not like a single activity. You want to perform some complex transformation with single activity is not possible. So it is a sequence of activities. Pipeline is a set of sequence of activities, right? So example, activity 1, activity number 1, data extraction happens, right? Yes. Activity number 2, assume, for example, activity number 2, any kind of data operation, right? For example, data filtering. Data filtering means unnecessary data elimination. Activity number 3, adding a new column, right? Adding a new column for your source data set. Activity number 4, updating data or transforming data. Okay, in this way, any number of activities set of sequence of activities. So in this way, a pipeline will contain multiple of sequences of activities. So I'm also right. So first, which activity to be executed? So first, which activity to be executed? Next, which activity to be executed? So in this way, next, which activity to be executed? So in this sequence of activities, which is called as pipelines. So this is set of sequence of activities, which is called a pipeline. So this is what a pipeline sequence of activities. It's a set of sequence of activities. So activity, it can be any data operation, right? Next is activity. Activity is a data operation. Just now we discussed it. It is any the data operation. Data operation can be right. Extracting data, filtering data, extracting data, filtering data, sorting data. Merging data, transforming data, conditional distribution. Within the pipeline, we need to configure activities. Within the pipeline, we need to configure activities. Here the advantage is without writing any code, right? We can configure the activities. But activities are working with data. Activities are working with, yes, working with the data. Always the first step, always the first step should be reading the data. And the last step, should be writing data. Reading from what?
Source.
Yes. Reading from what? Source. Writing into
Target. Destination.
target. Generally, we call it as sync. Target. So for these sources and targets. So for the sources and targets, we need to create data sets. For the source and anytime for the source and targets, we need to create data sets. To work with the data, we require data sets. So this is what activities. Working with the data. So for working with data, we require data sets. So pipeline is a set of sequence of activities, set of activities set. Activities can be any activity, data extraction. It can be any data operation like extracting, filtering, sorting, matching, transforming, or conditional distribution, conditional based distributions. Here always the first step will be reading data, the last step will be writing data to the target.
It means we should require minimum 2 activities to load the data from source to target, right?
Yes,
Minimum 2 activities should be there.
yes. Data set. Data set, simply I can say data set is the alias or snapshot, physical data object. It is a alias or snapshot of a physical data object. One second, to make you understand this, right? One example I take.
Means it could be any table data, any CSV file or anything, right?
Yeah, any file, but directly file to the file, the alias is nothing but the data set. For example, MySQL database. Within the database name, internally we have got a database available, right? Internal database name, MyDB. Within the database, we'll have table. The table name, assume that table name is some sales table. We talk about this data lake. In data lake, Azure data lake, right? We'll say we have got some storage accounts. Storage account. The storage account name, my storage, any name you have provided, right? My storage. Within that storage, you will have container. Within the container, you can give any name, right? Some like my data. My data. So in the
Is
case
it saying about target? You're saying about target?
so 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So here my task is load data from the sales to my data. Load data from sales. For example, if you want to migrate from this on-premise database to this cloud database into cloud, I want to load data. I want to load data from sales. Sales is what? On-premise database, right? Like MySQL. Data from the sales. I want to load data from the sales table to my data container. Container name is my data. Yes. So source is what? Source and okay, just now it says source and target. So to execute this task, my physical data objects are what? My physical data objects. The physical
Sales
data
data,
objects, sales and
my
my
data.
physical data objects. Now try to understand physical data objects, sales and my data. So anytime if you want to work with them, in ADF, we have to create directly. We cannot work on the physical data objects. To work with them in ADF, we have to create a data set. To work with them in ADF, we have to create data set. How many data sets required? To perform this task, right? Yes. We need to create, how many data sets? We need to create how many data sets? 2 data sets.
Two.
For example, first data set. Observe this first data set. What? Sales. What is sales? The sales table. First data set is for this sales table. So whenever we create a data sets, some naming conventions we need to follow. Whenever we create a data set, some naming conventions we need to follow. For example, for sales, see, I want the name what I am providing, data set underscore this, in which database? MySQL. And what is the database, internal database name? MyDB. And what is the within this table name? Sales. So in this way, I'm creating data set underscore MySQL underscore MyDB underscore sales. Data set underscore MySQL underscore MyDB underscore sales. Here DS means data set. This is a data set. This is alias of physical data object. It's a alias of physical object. Yes. Observe this. Sales. This is a data set name in ADF, alias of physical object in ADF. Now, what is your understanding here? Whenever you want to work with the physical data objects, right? We need to create this data sets, as there are two things, two physical objects. One is the sales table, one is my data container. For this, and for this, we need to create two data sets. A sales is physical object in MySQL. What is the second data set?
Target one.
So second data set, what is that name of that? My data.
My data.
Now try to say how to give the name for it. Data set underscore first. Just like what is the storage data lake? In the data lake, what is the name of the, what is the name we have given? My storage. My storage. In that my storage again, my data. My data. So ds underscore data lake underscore my storage underscore my data. We can easily understand if it is like here. Container name is my. Later I discuss about these things in brief. My data. Container name is my data. Available at storage account. Available at storage account. Which storage account? My storage. Okay.
My
So,
data is a file name, target table name, or container name.
so here, okay, container name is my data and storage account name is my storage. So just like in database, we have what internal database type, MyDB. The same way in data lake, the storage account name is my storage. For data lake, you will give some account name as my storage. And just like here in the database, we have table, here we say container. In that, the container name is my data.
Okay. It is nothing but file only, right? It is the target file only, right?
Within that, you can have files.
And again in the my data, we have another file.
Yes.
That's it? Okay.
Yes, we'll have file. So here naming convention, right, is not a rule. Doesn't mean that you need to follow this. It is a recommendation. So to company, they follow different naming conventions to work with physical data files or physical data tables. Understand this? Physical data files or physical data tables. We require data sets. So I'll show you all these things in practical. How to create linked service, how to create a data sets, how to create integration runtime. Next is linked service. Directly, we cannot create a data sets. Directly, we cannot create a data sets. We have to create linked service. Directly, we cannot create data sets. So we have to create linked service before that. Linked service is a connection string. Linked service is a connection string. Example, to connect with some website, we require connection string. For example, to connect with database server. For example, to connect with some database server, we require connection string. We require connection string. These connection strings are simply called as linked services in ADF.
Is these linked services or string connections or built-in one, or we have to create explicitly as invented to it?
So we need to create it. We need to create this linker service. If you want to create a data set, linker service is mandatory, but linker service to create again, integration runtime is required. To establish connection, for example, to establish connection between the source and destination, that is a sync. There should be integration runtime. Integration runtime. So understand here, you want to create two data sets for the source and target. For that, creating those things, a linker service required. But for creating linker service, the prerequisites integration runtime.
So is it like an API that we design?
So just all these are inbuilt. Just we need to provide the names. Here integration runtime you need to understand. This integration runtime, right, are connectors. These are connectors. For example, within Azure, varieties of storages. Varieties of storages are there. What are those examples? In Azure, varieties of storages. The demo session, I was briefing you about this, right? Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, Azure Cosmos. See here, varieties of storage means this is for RDBMS. This is for storing the files. This is for data warehouse, for NoSQL. Okay, just 1 second. Varieties of storages like Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, and Azure Cosmos DB. Outside Azure, we have different storages. Okay, outside Azure also we have different storages like data database, file systems,
And data warehouses as well.
okay, and whatever the other cloud databases. For example, here, source to target. Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake. Source is Azure Data Lake. Target is Azure Synapse. Okay. Both are Azure services. Both are Azure services, right?
Right.
But there is no connection between them. There should be some connectors, right? There should be some connectors which integrates. Data export or import. There should be some connectors which integrates these two for data export or import operations. That is for transportation. That is for transportation purpose. That is integration runtime. That is integration runtime. Integration runtime it is a prerequisite for linked service. The linked service is the prerequisite for a data set. Means what is your understanding? To create a data set, there should be an existing linked service. To create a data set, there should be an existing linked service. To create a data set, there should be existed linked service. Similarly, to create a linked service, there should be a existed integration runtime. So it's not a connection provider. Connection establisher between source and target. That is sync. So here integration runtime, now you understood, right? So already, if you want to create a data set, there should be a already existing linker service. To create a linker service, there should be a existed integration runtime. Types of integration runtime. Types of integration runtime. Types of integration runtime. 3 types. Auto IR, self-hosted IR, SSIS IR. SSIS IR, right? Auto IR, self-hosted IR, SSIS IR. In a simple way, I will describe what are this auto IR, self-hosted IR, SSIS IR, right? Auto IR, self-hosted IR. What are these? Auto IR means if storage service part of Azure, if they are part of Azure, if the storage service is part of Azure, like Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, or Azure Cosmos, or Azure Synapse, then you go for Auto IR if they are part of Azure. Self-hosted IR, non-Azure. When to go for this? If it is a non-Azure. Non-Azure means like on-premises databases like Oracle, MySQL, other cloud storage like AWS S3. Go for self-hosted IR. Auto IR, if it is within the same Azure storage, go for Auto IR. Self-hosted IR means if it is a part of non-Azure like AWS S3. And one more, what is it? This we have got a lot of discussion on this SSISIR. Okay, so I'll be discussing about these things in the next class. Auto IR, self-host. Now try to say me as part of today's discussion, right? What are the building blocks of ADF? So all those no need, we can create it directly. We have got it directly. We can create. Try to say what are the building blocks of ADF.
Pipeline,
So major
Pipelines,
pipeline. Next,
activities,
activities,
data sets,
data sets, linker services, IR.
linker services, integration runtime. Integration runtime, 3 types. Pipeline is a set of sequences of activities. Activity can be any data operation, data like loading, transforming, filtering, or grouping, any data operations. Data set is a alias to the physical data object. For creating a data set, compulsory already existing linker service has to be. Linker service is like a connection string. So even to have this, to create this linker service, already existed integration runtime. So first one among all this, first which one you will create?
integration.
Integration runtime. Once the integration runtime available, then you can create linked service. From that linked service, data sets. Now, when these 3 are ready, right? Activities you will be defining, pipeline creation. Otherwise, later saving that pipelines, right? Fine. One second. In the tomorrow session, just after discussing this, I'll go with how to create account subscription, Azure subscription for free. That is for free trial, right? And what are the services it is providing freely, and which some services are for 1 month it is totally free. Some services totally for 12 months it is free. Some services lifelong it is free. Many services are there. In that way, you can just can check which are the services that can be used. And about the Azure portal, once Azure subscription you perform. So for that, what are the you can keep your need to have credit card, email ID, phone number, these details. What are the email ID, phone number, some company name, where you are working, and this well credit card details. It will ask your address details also. Address, the entire address you need to provide within this, and that card number, email ID, phone number, company name. So it will just validate your identity, to validate the identity, right? So tomorrow also you can attend, everyone, right? Tomorrow also everyone you can attend the session. From day after tomorrow, the link gets changed, right? So you are supposed to get enrolled. So tomorrow also. So here, first you need to have some Microsoft ID. Microsoft ID should be there. Microsoft account with some mail ID you can get. I'll say how to during the process only. If you doesn't have this, you're doing this. You can create one Microsoft account. From there, you can log into the free trial and provide these details. And during this process, it will validate your phone number. Just validate your phone number by providing some SMS or some, and also validate this mail ID by providing some. After that, I'll be showing you how to enter how to work with this Azure portal. What are the services? Just I'll be showing you by creating some resources. First tomorrow, like let me show you like Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake, just for creation of the Azure Data Lake. See, very simple, right? Just 1 second, I'll show you. Just for example, once again, I'll show you in the tomorrow session. So like portal.azure.com, portal.azure.com. So one mail ID I'm taking, that is it takes password. I want to create a data lake, the storage account, data lake. So just how simple creating these things, right? So slowly I'll be entering into this Azure portal. Okay. So here you can see all this at the left side, you can see all this as SQL databases, Azure Cosmos DB, these things. So just first thing, once again, I'll discuss in the tomorrow's class. First, to create anything, a resource group is required. First, resource group is required. Means resource group means, for example, okay, why I need to create this resource group? Why I need to create a resource group means for your project, what all the resources required, services required, like Azure Data Lake, Azure SQL, Azure Data Factory, what all that required, everything will be under one resource group. Otherwise, for your project level or for your branch, so all this for project wise, for every project, one resource group we can create, or for a branch, and you can keep all that resources in that. So for example, just I'm creating a resource group, just say create. So just it will ask, okay, it's a free trial, or it is you have got any account. It's a free trial, and resource group name, any name, like I'll give some test group. I'm giving, so give any name for that, a name. And here it will ask to select any region. Many regions are there. I'll discuss about the regions, what are these regions. So let it be US, East US, and just select any region. Create it, just to say create. Validation passed, create. Just what I created, a resource group I created. Once again, in the tomorrow's class, I'll just brief you what are the things, regions. So just a test group, a resource group is created. So resource group created successfully, right? Under this resource group, you can have your resources. What resources? For example, data lake. I'll click that. This is your resource group. Under this resource group, create. Whenever you say create, what you want to create, search here. What you want to create, search here. If you want a storage account like a data lake, say storage account. Storage account. Click the storage account. Storage account appears here. Or if you want to create Azure Data Factory, search here, Data Factory you say. So storage account we can see here, storage accounts. Click here, storage account. Now it will ask, I'm going to create a storage account. Say create. Create a storage account. Just very simple, within 1 minute we can create this. It will ask free trial, resource group. Already just now I created a resource group, test group. Or during runtime also you can create a resource group. Storage account name, any name you can give, right? My storage lake. My storage lake. Give some name, different name. Is on, see here, the storage account name is already taken. It is global. So give some unique name. My storage lake I have given. It's the name is already taken. So something you give some 1090 I have given, right? My storage lake 1090, right? So a region East US only. Performance standard. What are these? I'll discuss it. Well, when I did once again, I'll show you about this ADF, right? So just say review and create. Just say review and create. Validation. If validation passed, you can create it. Validation in progress. Yes, now it is saying subscription, everything. Check these things and just say create. It creates. So initializing this deployment, just what you have given, only the name you have given. What is that? My storage lake. Some name I have given for it. These things again I'll be discussing one by one steps. Now say deployment is in progress. Just it takes some time, some 30 seconds to 1 minute for this deployment to complete for creating this storage lake, that is data lake. Okay, my storage lake accepted. This name is accepted. And sometimes, okay, deployment succeeded. Deployment succeeded. Your deployment is complete. Your deployment is complete, right? Just your deployment is complete. Go to the resource thing. Go to the data lake. You'll entering into the data lake. Within the data lake, right? You can see a lot of things. Here, come to this storage, data storage. If you go to the data storage, you can see containers. Just now I was talking about container, right? Container. Click that container. I want to create a new container. I want to create a new container. Just now we talked about my data or my container. My container or my data, right? Just say create. That's it. So one my container is created. Within that, you can load your files. Within that container, just upload some file. Upload what you want to upload file to ask. Upload, drag and drop here or browse for files. Browse for files. So browse for files, it will just enter into a local system. In the local system, for example, in C drive data 1, I've got some emp.txt data. This data I will open. emp.txt data, right? Upload employee data. emp.txt file loaded into it. It is loaded into this container. What is the name of the container? My container, right? So here, again, if you want to navigate from the starting, here, I'll enter to my resource group. My resource group name is test group. In that resource group, what are the resources you have created? I created only data lake. Data lake name, see here, my storage lake. If you enter to the my storage lake, what is there in that container? What is the name of the container? 1 second. If you go to this data storage, if you go to this containers, see, just now I created my container. Within the my container, you can see emp.txt. This is what creating files, any number of files you can load and you can just, okay. So creation of this means just I'll say the process how to create a subscription, free subscription, right? The tomorrow's class and about this portal, Azure portal in the tomorrow's class. Just the three things are left out: auto IR, self-hosted IR, SSIR, SIR. So here in the ADF also, just creation of ADF. Go to this resource, resource groups. Any resources to create it. For example, resource, go to this resource group. In that resource group, I want to create one more resource. Already storage lake, a data lake is created. Now I want to create a data factory. Say data factory here. Data factory you say, right. You will get data factory here. Create the data factory. Just to give only the name of the data factory. That's it. Name, already free trial, the resource group it will take, or any other. I want ETL, ADF. Okay. ADF, ETL 1090. Some name I'm giving. Just review and create. And just say create. That's it. In this way, just creating these things, right? Create it. Initializing the deployment. It takes 30 seconds to 1 minute to create these things. Right? Yes.
Please share today's notes, please.
Yeah, 1 second. So this resource will be created. So in the previous session notes and this session notes, both I'll be keeping in your chart panel in the Zoom chat now itself. Did I forward the previous notes?
Yes.
Yes.
This today's notes only I need to forward, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Your deployment is completed. Go to resource, means which resource? ADF resource. And the ADF, right? Yes. Launch this studio. 1 second. Just I'm giving overview as of now. Later I discuss everything in brief again. Fine. So it is entering into this data factory. Just I'll take 1-2 minutes.
Vijay, to get into this Azure Data Factory studio, right? Can we? I mean, like, can we directly create this data factory in the resource group once it is done, or else we need to follow all the steps, like whatever, like creating that data lake, container, all those
Data
have to
lake,
be done.
no, data lake, no, directly you can create area, directly you can go to this area.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So here, you've got manage here. Manage is there. Manage is there. If you click here, linked services, integration runtime, create a new linked service, create a new integration runtime. And here, if you see this pencil icon, right? Creating pipelines, data sets creations. See here, data. If you click this new data set to create pipelines, new pipeline to create data flows, these things, Power Queries, whatever here, you will create it. So I said it is a zero coding ETL tool. Nothing, no need to write any codes. Directly drag and drops. Okay, fine. 1 second, hold on. I'll forward you the notes of today's.
And all this data factory, everything we should be creating under resource group, right?
Under one resource group, you will create.
Okay.
For example, 100 resources you have created.
Mhm.
which resources for under which project, it will be very difficult. So for every project, create one resource group, in that you keep your resources. So, okay, for this project, these resources are used. So these are the names for that.
Okay.
So is this not the first class for ADE?
1 second. One second. Okay. See, in the chart, you can see, right? If you got the notes, can you check here ADA notes and ADF building blocks? So here,
Yeah.
can you see the chart? A big message is given by this online team. If anyone missed the previous demo session, right? We had a demo session, right? Last day on the Friday, right? If you have missed it, you can check the demo videos. Can you see the link is given? Okay, and ADF course content, ADE course content. That's duration, right? Demo link. Tomorrow also you can follow the same link. Tomorrow also if you attend the session, more discussion on this. If the demo videos link is given in the chart, if you have missed the previous session, course content of ADF, ADE, and the payment details, the contact details of this. Yes. So tomorrow you can attend, but from day after tomorrow, the link might be changing, right? Yes. Fine. Okay. And one thing, previously in the introductory session, I was just briefing you about these things, right? The notes also I kept in the chart, introductory notes, right? So why we need to go for on-premises as compared with the cloud, right? And here difference between this data scientist is data analyst and data engineer. And I was just why the roles of Azure data engineer and data engineering products. We have got these products, right? Just I have given overview about these products, right? What is Azure SQL? What is it? Azure Data Lake, right? Some description on that, right? Azure Data Factory and Azure Databricks in this way. Streaming analytics, right? Just there was some space here. Just if you scroll down, you can see Azure Streaming Analytics, Azure Cosmos DB, Key Vault, right? Yes. So I said for the first 1 week, it will be at 10 a.m., but later the batch timing will be at 9 to 10. Starts at 9 o'clock. Okay. You will be getting each and every session video, clear class notes, WhatsApp group will be created, interview questions, right? Yes. Right.
So is that Azure Databricks with the PySpark is in a kind of in-depth training, or it's a kind of basic level of training?
Yes, ADB with PySpark, I'll be providing you that knowledge, right?
No, knowledge is fine. It's an in-depth kind of Unity catalog, data lakes, and incremental SLT type of thing. All this will going to cover.
Yes, yes.
Okay. What about Synapse anything? That will cover.
So once you go to the course content, right? Here, just 1 second, I'll show you this course content. ADF, Azure Data Factory, pipelines, linked service. So what is pipeline? Linked service, data sets, activities, and here triggers, integration runtime, source control, parameters, credentials, monitoring ADF jobs, data flows, and here Azure Data Factory, SCDs, slowly changing dimensions, SCD type 1, type 2, removing duplicate rows, ADF nearly like exercises nearly like 50, creating variables, creating linked services, data sets, copy activities, deleting the files from the blob storage, how to integrate the key vault in ADF, copying data on premises to Azure cloud, how to use schedule triggers. So nearly like 50 exercises we'll be discussing, right? Azure Databricks, introduction to this big data, introduction to this Hadoop and Spark, introduction to the Spark, right? And cloud computing, introduction to this Azure, right? And introduction to this Azure Databricks, creating Databricks workspace, Databricks service, managing clusters, displaying clusters, starting cluster, terminating clusters, types of clusters, Databricks pools, cluster mode, auto scaling, Databricks utilities, data utilities, job utility, secrets, widgets, Databricks integration with the blob, Azure storage into Azure SQL database, CSV data, JSON data, right? Databricks.
So one question, Vijay, you said you are going to we are going to have this parallel session, right? On this Databricks. So when it is tentatively going to start?
So still it is not announced. Once it will be announced, it will let you know, right?
No, just a tentative, like, accordingly I will plan myself. It will be after 15th, right? Like after.
Yeah, it takes nearly 10 to 2 weeks. It takes 10 days,
Okay.
more than 10 days of time. So
Okay. What time it would be?
say actually, so just 1 second, I'll come back to your query. This is Azure Synapse. You can just
Okay, sure.
course content, right? Of Azure Synapse. Everything in brief, in depth, we'll be discussing. And okay, and here, yeah, your query, right? So ADF totally 3 months will be spending on that, around 3 months. So ADF, ADB, Azure Synapse, the three things will be discussed. So if you want the once after, first I'll be starting with ADF. So meanwhile, any ADB batches started anywhere, right? Means any of the timing or mostly in the weekends, there should be a weekend batch of Databricks PySpark, right? So that anyone
What will be the duration of weekend batch, Vijay?
so it will be like 1.5 months. It will be means nearly like 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay.
6
Okay.
weeks it will be. So anyone like who have got enrolled for this AD, anyone who have got enrolled for this AD, right, can attend the Databricks. Means once you got enrolled, you can attend the Databricks.
So my issue is like, this 40 days I can attend morning times, but later I'm not sure, like, so in that way, if it is flexible, I'll be able to complete the course, like just if I'm joining.
Whatever it is, right? If you are unable to attend this timing tomorrow, like if your job timings got changed, multiple batches of this AD, right, available in the evening batch, morning batch, weekend batches are available. You can just just attend in those things.
Okay,
right?
got it.
The left out things.
One question, like how many years I can keep if I completed this entire training program?
A typical 4+ years of experience person, how much knowledge he is going to gain, you are going to gain from that.
Okay.
Everything in brief, in depth, we'll be discussing, right? You can see that everything.
But I hope we are going to deal with the databases as well, not file system, entire course content, right?
Everything, all will be working with all the things. Azure SQL, Azure Data Factory. So as a ADF developer, as ADB developer, right, you can you'll be interacting with all these services, right? Not only the data lake.
Is it Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday?
Monday to Friday it will be. Sometimes on Saturdays I'll intimate if I'm taking each session.
Okay. So Vijay, one question. Like as part of this, right? Are you having any interactive course, like anything you're giving some assignments or?
Yes, this I'll be providing those things, right? Based on that only you can get that command on that. And everything, all the sessions will be interactive sessions. Immediately it will be unmute yourself and you can ask the query then and there itself. If you got any query during the session, immediately you can ask or you can type in the chat, right?
Okay.
All the sessions will be interactive sessions, right? Yes. I'm expecting the sessions to be more interactive where you need to respond, right?
Yes. So
Vijay, yeah, could you please go back to that ADF screen where we have that data flows, data sets, and Power Queries? Yeah, so just would like to understand if these are pretty similar to what we have in Power BI. Like even in Power BI as well, like we have this data flows, Power Query, and data sets. So
Yes,
are these pretty
exactly.
similar?
Exactly similar to that.
Okay. Thanks, Vijay.
Fine. So I said right here, you're not going to write any code here, zero code ETL.
Mm-hmm.
But in Databricks, right, with PySpark, you need to have some basic of Python, right? Basic Python knowledge. So that too, Python knowledge means Python is not a complex programming language. Looks like normal English statements. Fine.
Okay.
Fine. Any other queries, right?
To what extent we need to learn Python in that case? Any, I mean, any tutorial like you'll suggest? Like W3 schools is one, right?
So you can just code Python core concepts required, basic Python.
Okay.
So wherever you want.
No, whoops is not required.
You are not going to develop any web applications,
Okay. Okay, up to functions is enough. File handling,
functions,
regular
and
exceptions.
regular exceptions.
Vijay, if possible, can you please list down the concepts, whatever are required, for the basic Python?
Mhm. Okay, fine. That I have one session. I'll be showing you all those 1 hour session, 1 or 2 sessions. I'll
Okay.
show you the syntaxes of Python, right? You can just check with those. It'll be
Sure.
For ADF also is Python is required. Huh?
no ADF. We are not going to write anything.
Okay.
For ADE, this is the first session or also do you have earlier sessions as well?
We had earlier one session, right? You can check with that in the chart.
Okay.
Link is given. The video.
Okay. But this is
I
second
was
session.
I was just giving the overview of that Azure
Okay.
data engineering services and products. What is Azure SQL? What is Azure Data Factory? What is ADF? Just I have brief you, right? In the notes also you can see, you can check everything clearly in the notes. It's available, right?
So
Okay.
entirely practical sessions only, not the theoretical, right?
There is nothing theoretical. Only this
Okay.
first 2 sessions, 3 sessions will be having it. Later everything.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Fine.
Thank you.
So I'm stopping here. We'll continue tomorrow, more discussion. Same time at 10 o'clock, same link, right? Fine. Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Meet you tomorrow.
Thank you.